It was a spring break night during a torrential downpour of rain. I was home alone for the night and overcome with boredom. Since I was already talking with my friend Noah on Discord, I invited him to come over. He showed up and we played games on the PC for a while, but quickly got bored. While trying to think of things to do, Noah suggested we check out the deep web, which was intriguing to me. I had never been on the deep web, or knew how to access it with the proper safety measures and all of that, but luckily Noah did. He pulled up some deep web browser on my PC called the Hidden Wiki, which could access .onion sites. We were scrolling through pages upon pages of links searching for something of interest. Surprisingly, most of it was pretty mundane. We tried to steer clear of links that looked like they would lead to stuff like stolen identities, scams, child pornography, and other sordid stuff. Eventually we ended up on some website where you could chat with other people through your webcam, like Omegle. Noah and I decided to join it, but we turned off our webcam because we didn't want to show anyone our faces. Everyone who we encountered on this site seemed pretty normal. About 90% of them instantly left the chat when they saw we weren't using our webcam. Eventually, we got matched with some low-quality webcam aimed at a girl wearing a black coat sitting down in a really dark room. Despite the quality and darkness, we could make out a mattress she was sitting on a concrete floor surrounded by trash, and multiple cracks on the wall. There was also a broken table or a nightstand type of thing next to the mattress. The woman was wearing a COVID mask with a hood over her head, obscuring most of her face. Me and Noah just kind of watched her for a minute, wondering if something was going to happen. But the woman in the mask just remained completely still. I was just joking with Noah about how we'd finally found something deep web-ish when another figure stepped into the frame. It was a man in a cloak similar to the woman's, also wearing a face mask with the hood over his head. He moved directly behind the woman. Noah and I watched as he slowly lifted the mask from her face and pushed the hood down. Instantly, her head slumped to the side. A chill ran down my spine as I saw she looked like she'd been dead for a while. Her eyes looked lifeless and there was a piece of duct tape over her mouth. I decided it was time to close the chat and reached for the mouse to move it to the X button, but the cursor was frozen. I asked Noah why it wouldn't move, and he said in a soft, concerned voice that he thinks they might have been hacking me. I yelled through the chat to stop hacking me as the figure slowly approached the camera, until all we saw was his shrouded forehead with two eyes staring directly into the camera. He held up a sticky note up to the camera with a message written in Sharpie that said, "Let me see your face." I shouted no, but just then the blue light on top of my PC clicked on and me and Noah saw our horrified faces pop up in the chat. At this point I was screaming at Noah to do something as I covered the webcam with my hands. Noah started frantically pressing the Windows key, but it seemed the keyboard wasn't responding either. We tried the power button, but that wasn't working as well. Finally, Noah crawled down under the desk, saying he was going to unplug the PC. As he was moving underneath the desk, I heard the man's voice come through my speakers. It was disguised by a lower pitch effect.
"Just wait a second while I get your address."
A sick feeling overcame my stomach until Noah finally yanked the plug out and the screen went black. We just sat there for a minute, breathing heavily in shock. We went about another minute without saying anything, just processing. Then Noah spoke in a shaky voice, saying it's best I throw my PC out and get a new one. I ended up not doing what he recommended. I didn't really want to deal with having to buy a new PC and explain to my parents why I was throwing out the original $4,500 one. Noah and I didn't really tell anyone about it, but I've been having some serious trouble sleeping since this happened. One thing's for certain though, I'm never going near the deep web again. I frequently like to browse the deep web with Tor, and I've never really had any of the scary experiences you hear about with it online until a couple weeks back. I had gotten home from soccer practice at around 7 and decided to hop on Tor and see what I could find. My little brother was watching TV and my parents were at my sister's soccer game, so it was an ideal time to do a little browsing. I was looking through some of the usual black market forums and hacking forums I snoop around on. I entered this one chat room I looked at often where people often posted links to different pages. Most of it was typically illegal stuff I decided not to check out. This one user posted a link saying that anyone interested in finding darker parts of the deep web should check it out. I clicked on the link and it must have taken about a minute to load. It was another chat room. This one had a black background with red text. The website URL was also in red. There were about 6 people active in the chat, and I just watched them talk to each other for a minute. From what I could gather from their conversation, they seemed to be posting links that supposedly allowed access to random people's webcams. One of the users pinged my username, asking if I wanted to look at random people's webcams and screens. I said sure, and he sent a link. I clicked on it, and some video of a guy appeared on my screen. He was wearing headphones and staring just below the camera. I typed in the chat asking if this was genuine, and the guy who sent the link said yes. I sat there for a couple minutes as a few different people popped up, most of them just staring straight ahead at their computers. It was honestly pretty funny, until at some point, my face showed up. My first thought was that the guy who sent the link was pranking me, so I typed "very funny bro" in the chat, but apparently the guy who sent the link had signed out from the chat. I just sat there waiting for it to move on to the next person's webcam, but it just stayed on mine. It was just my unimpressed face staring back at me with my dark bedroom in the background. I got tired of it quickly and was moving my cursor to close the website when I noticed something. Through the darkness and shit quality of my webcam, I swear I could see someone standing behind me in my room. I spun my head around towards the left corner of my room by the door where I had seen the figure standing. There was no one there. I turned back to my computer screen and I couldn't see the figure anymore on there either. So I closed the site, got up, and turned on my bedroom lights. I also checked in the closet and underneath my bed. My room was completely empty though. When I sat back down by my computer, I saw a new message from someone in the group chat. It pinged my username and read, "I've seen you browsing this place a lot and I've looked into you. I know you're just a kid and I'd hate for anything bad to happen to you. I strongly recommend you take my advice and never come back here again." Immediately after that, I deleted Tor. I think it's safe to say my deep web browsing days are over. I was a regular on dark web chat forums when I graduated college and lived alone. One Friday night, I was browsing one of the forums when I saw a new post with a link to an Onion site. The OP said it was a fun Q&A game everyone should check out. I clicked it, and it opened a full-screen black website with large text saying "Welcome" in capital letters. Underneath that, there was text that read, "Warning. The following game will mess with your mind," or something corny like that. I don't really remember. There were 2 buttons that were labeled Exit and Next. I clicked Next. What followed was around 10 pages of just average small talk type of questions. I answered each one careful to remain anonymous, but none of them were particularly creepy questions. They were just like, "What's your profession? What's your favorite animal? Favorite color? Etc., etc." It took a dark turn soon though. One question popped up asking who I'd rather kill, my pet or my cousin. As a joke, I chose cousin. More questions started to appear of a similar nature, until one page brought up a video. It showed an unconscious woman chained to a chair, and there was a guy wearing a purge mask standing next to her. The question below read, "What should I kill her with?" The options were poison, power drill, or machete. At first I thought it was another joke and that the image was just a still picture, until the masked man waved at the camera. I switched back to the forum and left a comment on the guy's post saying his Q&A thing was a dumb scare attempt. He replied to me instantly, saying, "Well, I'm waiting. Poison, drill, or machete?" I replied, "There's no way that's actually you." He just replied saying, "LOL, open the game again." I clicked back to the game, and first I didn't know what I was looking at. It was a video of a sidewalk the person holding the camera was walking down. The person recording then turned the camera around to face them. It was the guy in the purge mask. He turned the camera back around and zoomed in on a street sign. Grafton Street. That was literally a block away from my house. I opened the forum and responded to the last guy's comment, commanding him to quit fucking with me. He just responded with LMAO. I ran downstairs to make sure both of the doors were locked. When I realized they were, I went back upstairs and called my friend Sean, who lived down the street, asking him to come over. He said he'd be there in a minute. I sat back down on my computer, gathering the courage to open the Q&A game back up. When I did, I saw the end of the street that my house was on. I ran back downstairs and out the front door into the street, looking down the road the person with the camera had been on. There was no one in sight. I also ran into Sean as he was walking up the other side of the street. I led him inside and explained what happened. He genuinely didn't believe me. I told him to just wait downstairs, and I ran back upstairs to my computer. I opened the Q&A game, terrified to see what would be there, but there was no video screen. Just a black background with text, similar to the first screen on the game. Bold letters at the top read, "Congratulations, you've completed the game." Then an exit button. I clicked exit, and then it went back to the forum. But the post with the link to the game was gone, presumably deleted. Having nothing else to do, I turned off my computer and went downstairs to tell Sean everything. I'm not sure if he believed me or not, but he still stayed the night. Needless to say, I didn't get a wink of sleep that night.